includes, as I've always said, all of us. Growing inequality in societies both developed and developing. Globalization is benefiting only a few, the top 1% or 10%. Stagnant and falling incomes are the fate of the middle classes in many parts of the world. These, among other factors, are also a case for radical transformation of economic models and a call for inclusive growth both here and elsewhere in the world. The President has rightly emphasized requirements for transformation and change in South Africa are wide-ranging. Just give me a minute. Laws and regulations, policies and their implementation, initiatives of national and provincial and local governments, our Black Economic Empowerment Charters and the engagement of business, organized labor and civil society partners are all critical levers of change, and so is our budget. This is not a transformation to be achieved through conquest, conflict, or extortion as in our past. We do not seek to reproduce the racial divides and racial domination that was the hallmark of apartheid nationalism. Our transformation will be built through economic participation, partnerships and mobilization of all of our capacities. It is a transformation that must unite, not divide South Africans. This is the task entrusted to us by our leaders such as Oliver Tambo, Helen Joseph, Walter Sisulu, and Nelson Mandela. We find ourselves at a conjuncture which requires the wisdom of our elders to help us make the right choices and keep the trust of our citizens. Madam Speaker, today's budget message is that we are once again at a crossroads. Tough choices have to be made to achieve the development outcomes that we seek. As I pointed out, our economic growth is slow, unemployment is far too high, and many businesses and families are under stress. We face an uncertain and complex environment. At the same time, we face immense transformational challenges. We must overcome the inequalities and divisions of our society, and all South Africans must have a prosperous future. We have a plan for a more inclusive and shared economy. Its implementation requires greater urgency, however, and effective collaboration amongst all social partners. Change, of course, is difficult and often contested. In these tough times, we draw strength from the resilience and the diverse capabilities of our people, our business sector, our trade unions, and our social formations. Key features of the framework for the 2017 budget include the following. Expenditure envelope projected in last year's budget and at the MTBPS. An additional 28 billion rands will be raised in taxes. In a moment how it affects you. The budget deficit for 2017-18 will be 3.1% of GDP with our fiscal consolidation commitments, and government debt will stabilize at about 48 to 49% of GDP over the next. Redistribution in support of education services and municipal functions remain the central thrust of our spending programs. Government's wage bill has stabilized. Procurement reforms continue to improve the effectiveness of public spending, and opening up perpetuate poverty and the exclusion of the poor first requires a conversion of mind and heart. Close quotation. We require a similar conversion of heart and mind. We therefore welcome Germany's commitment to highlight Africa and its infrastructure financing requirements as a priority in its term as chair of the G20 countries. On the question of South Africa's economy, our expectation at this stage is that GDP growth will increase from 0.5% in the past year to 1.3% in 2017, and will continue to improve very moderately over the medium term. Clearly, these numbers are too low and highly inadequate. The services sector was the main contributor to growth in 2016, bringing nearly 120,000 new work opportunities to the table. Mining continued to underperform, while manufacturing output was supported by buoyant sales in petrochemicals, food and beverages, and motor vehicles. Mining and manufacturing employment declined by 80,000 jobs in 2016. Weak business confidence and low levels of profitability weighed on investment across all sectors. Though the policy interest rate has increased by 2 percentage points since 2014, inflation ended the year above target. The food prices continuing to reflect the impact on agriculture of poor rainfall. Lower growth amongst our trading partners in Africa and elsewhere has contributed to sluggish export performance. We expect somewhat higher growth in the coming year on the strength of a number of favorable trends that are emerging. Commodity prices have rebounded, and hopefully they stay that way. The exchange rate has recovered from its rapid depreciation last year, which bodes well for capital flows, inflation, and business and consumer confidence. Drought conditions have abated in most of the country. Production stoppages associated with industrial disputes have been comparatively low, and electricity supply has improved, allowing new connections and industrial demand to be accommodated. But the projected rate of growth is not sufficient to reduce unemployment or impact significantly on poverty and inequality. It falls well short of our NDP targets. Madam Speaker, we know what to do to get ourselves out of the present low growth trap. Now listen carefully to this. Ditau khedi shumshisana dikha bolaya nare. If lions work as a team, they will bring down even a buffalo. Shumishan. And we've got to be, honorable members, lions with all types of T-shirts on to bring the buffalo down. In order to boost investment in the short term, there are several specific imperatives. Finalizing legislation relating to mining development and land redistribution, implementing the transition from analog to digital television, which will release spectrum for broadband services, which Minister Kwele is anxiously waiting for, continuing our independent power producer program, both in renewables and to take advantage of gas investment opportunities, further strengthening of economic regulatory functions and streamlining investment approval processes. That's well on its way. Production-friendly industrial relations and prompt resolution of disputes that the Deputy President has been working on, an enabling environment for small enterprises, and support through leveraging both private and public sector procurement budgets, work that Minister Zulu is doing. Focused support on labor-intensive sectors of the economy, including agriculture,